you suck! Ref, 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 you suck!
The Odd on Monday night, Game 3.
It was. We were there live to experience the atrocities.
Only be described as atrocities. The worst part about trying to be an educated hockey fan is you don't want to blame the referees and the officiating for everything. And as when we get into the game recaps, I'm going to say that I'm not going to blame them. But I try not to even join into the ref you suck chant. And as you can hear, I was screaming, you were screaming. 6,800 people were screaming.
Yeah, and it was warranted. The reffing on Monday night was abysmal.
One of the worst games I've ever seen across any sport.
Yeah. If you didn't see it or were watching but didn't know why the Odd was calling ref you suck, repeatedly, many, many times throughout the game it happened. It was because there were 8 penalties for Windsor, and there were 8 power plays for Windsor, and there was one 13-second power play for the Rangers. And now, the issue was not that the Rangers were taking these penalties. Most of them, some of them were a little soft, but most of them were warranted penalty calls. The issue came down to the fact that Windsor was getting away with some truly egregious stuff that they were not getting called at all, including a slash to the back of the head, some pretty brutal cross-checking, blatant interference, holding. Like, there were as many penalties that Windsor should have received throughout this game that didn't receive any.
Yeah, and it was a situation where I didn't really have too much to say about any of the calls that went against Kitchener.
Yeah.
They've been undisciplined the whole series.
Yep.
And Windsor just wasn't being called for anything, and they were very blatant.
Also undisciplined, but I guess the refs are on their side, so
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I agree. Kitchener has been undisciplined in the series. Like, we were down 0-3 in the series. Windsor has more power play goals than the Rangers have goals in this series. But also, they've had 10 more power plays than the Rangers have had in this series.
Yeah, it hasn't been close as far as like game management or anything. I guess we can just dive right into the recaps, I suppose.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, this is where we're at. Tonight is Wednesday. Game 4 is happening tonight. We're going to do the first 3 game recaps. Then we're going to take a break and go watch Game 4. Then we're going to come back and you're going to get like our live, unchecked,
unfiltered
response to this
Haven't
game.
Slept on it.
Yeah. No
hopefully,
thoughts. Haven't we watched the highlight package,
Hopefully it's the beginning of the reverse sweep, but it also might be the end of the season and the odd pods that have games attached to them.
Yeah, correct.
So the stakes are high.
Yeah.
If you're listening right now, we don't know it, but you know it, and the stakes are so high for us right now.
Yes, correct. It is very stressful. Yeah, tonight is do or die. We are in elimination games until we are eliminated or we move on from this series.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Odd Pod, where we're talking Kitchener Rangers hockey with the oddballs themselves, Andrew and Justin. Take it away, fellas.
Here we are.
So yeah, we played 2 games. We played on Thursday night, which might be just the problem to begin with, because the Rangers, this is the first Thursday night game the Rangers have played, I think.
Yeah, it felt like that anyway. That's how it felt. It all felt uncomfortable playing on a Thursday and then playing on a Saturday. It was all wrong.
It was all weird. The first 2 games, they were in Windsor because of the Windsor won their division, so they got home ice advantage, and we went into Windsor.
And I will mention, they also got to pick lower sooner in the OHL priority selection, which happened, and we'll talk about that briefly. But that happened, and Windsor gets to double dip. So they had less points, so they get to pick sooner in the draft, but they won their division, so they get home ice in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Make it make sense,
Yeah.
OHL. Make it make sense.
I don't get it one little bit. Very confusing. Then we played on a Thursday night, and I don't know. This game, like, I felt like the Rangers had pep for like 2 minutes, and then Swick ran into Humphreys, center ice,
Like, pretty much chicken winged him in the face. I
Yeah.
think he broke his nose.
knocked him out. He kind of
Yeah.
tried to get fixed up on the bench, then left the game,
Yeah.
and like sucked all the energy out of the Rangers.
Yeah.
They came out with some energy, but that happened like 2 minutes into the game, and then there was no more energy. That was it.
No, and it was pretty much flat for about 7 periods after that.
Yeah.
So
We were-
that's how this series is going. It's the first time we've ever lost 3 games in regulation all year.
Yeah.
So that's a fun stat for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. It's some great stats on this one.
There really are.
Game
There's a
3,
really-
Green Tree's been unbelievable in this series, but like
I can't take away from Windsor, and it really put in perspective just how filthy Flint was in the first series. I thought that was more along the lines of, oh, maybe this is just junior hockey in the playoffs. No, they're just dirty.
Yeah,
It's
they're
just a
super
dirty
dirty.
franchise.
Yep.
They're losers. They're sitting at home, but they hurt the Rangers in that series.
Yep.
And I think we're seeing that. That's my theory anyway. It's not
Yeah.
sour grapes. I think it's just that the Rangers are all banged up. We know that, like, there were significant injuries. There was missed time down the stretch. And then I think that guys got hurt in the Flint series. Get it? Everybody's hurt. I tell you, though, the big 3 in Windsor, Greentree, Morneau, and Protas are not hurt.
they're not
They are
hurt.
healthy.
We know for sure
They
they're
are
not
healthy.
hurt.
And they are very good.
Yeah.
And I haven't had really any problems on a personal level of dirty like play with the Spitfires. They've just
Yeah.
been playing well. And it's not even like they've been dominating because they look incredible. It kind of sadly, from my perspectives, it looks more like the Rangers are really flat and there might be nursing some injuries. And it's like we said, they were really flat after the Humphreys situation. Ellinas was out for 2 games with a suspension. So you don't have Humphreys, you don't have Ellinas, you don't have Miseljevic because he's injured. So that's 3 of your top 6 just gone.
Yes. And that's 2 games that they were all 3 of those guys were basically gone for because Humphreys
Yeah.
didn't play in game 2. Again, not to take away from Windsor, Costanzo's been phenomenal. Like the Rangers have gotten some great opportunities on him, especially early in games, and just cannot figure him out until like later in games.
Realistically, you got to give the guy his flowers. He's outplaying Jackson Parsons in this
Yep.
series. Jackson Parsons, the original Odd Pod guy, ride or die. We love the kid.
Oh yeah.
Not his best hockey in
No.
this series.
Yeah.
And I think he would say that, so that's not a knock. I'm not criticizing him. I'm just saying, I'm just calling it as I see it.
Yeah.
Not his best hockey. It's frustrating because this is a situation where I think he needs a little help. And he deserves to be bailed out. He's carried this team at times.
Yeah.
He's carried this team to wins at times. He needs to be bailed out. And sadly, I just don't think the horses got the juice. I don't think they've got the gas to do it right now. And that's what it looks like. It looks like maybe, I'm not going to speculate that Parsons is a little banged up, but it's been a lot of hockey for Jackson Parsons. He has a couple off games, and you need the offense to score because you play better too when you see a guy, maybe you give up one you'd like to have back, but then your team gets it back right away. Maybe it's water off a duck's back. But then when it just the ice tilts and you start to feel like it's going downhill, I think it's easier getting your heads. It feels like the Rangers are a bit in their heads.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know how banged up they are because you see sometimes like them bobble a puck or make a bad pass or a weak pass or fan on a pass for
it's just
absolutely no reason.
Hasn't
And
been their identity
honestly,
at all.
It hasn't been them at all. It's been like totally, this is not the team that we've watched all season. And it's unfortunate that it's happening in the playoffs, but that's sports. That's
the
it.
way it goes,
Sometimes
yeah.
it just happens, right? I don't want to speculate that guys are banged up any more than we have. However, it's like it's either nerves or it's like you're really trying to make that pass. But if you had something like a core injury or like a leg injury or anything where you could be affected with your range of motion, then yeah, you might fan on a pass. You might not be able to have as accurate of a shot realistically. And they've missed the net a ton in this series.
They've missed the net a ton. Yeah, a lot of shot attempts that just don't even hit the target, and also lots of posts and crossbars. Every game has had. I think Pridham's hit probably 6 posts or crossbars himself. Like
Feels like it, right?
it's like the
Yeah.
dude gets some amazing opportunities, and just like it's just not quite right. And it goes back to we don't know if they're hurt. We don't know if they got some nerves now that it hasn't gone well, especially in the first game or something. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, it's just like you're gripping the stick too tight, and
And I mean
can't
that
get it in.
can take us right into the second game. The first game they lost 5-1, and then it was a carbon copy. The second game they lost 5-1.
Yeah.
However, I felt like there was an opportunity for this game to go a different way, and it was, as you mentioned, Jack Pridham had a chance, a shorthanded breakaway when it was 2-0 for Windsor. It wasn't out of reach. The Rangers, again, they're a lot more flat than we've noticed. They came out, it looked sluggish. Like I said, they're puck watching. They're not moving their feet as much, but shorthanded breakaway, Jack Pridham hits the post. If he scores there, that is one of those moments that turns a series right around. It's like, oh, okay, we're back in it. Maybe we win game 2. Maybe we lose game 2, but not 5-1. It's one of those moments where you're like, oh, pivotal moment, that you're like, and because naturally, seconds later, Windsor scores the third goal. It's 3-0, game over.
Yeah, you can't come back from only having one goal and being down multiple goals. It just becomes too much of an uphill battle, especially against Windsor, who's playing well. Like not only are they scoring lots of goals, they're playing well defensively. I think we saw in game 2, the Rangers tried to be a little too fancy. They were, some of the things that have worked for them in the regular season with getting the puck movement going really fast, like it just doesn't seem to work against Windsor. Windsor's able to defend against it, get sticks in lanes and block things and break up good rush chances. And if you pass the puck too many times on a rush chance, it gives that defender a moment to get back and help out. And that's what we've seen too.
Yeah, and we've seen the Rangers shy away from shooting opportunities. Not to jump ahead, but the one that sticks out in my mind was a 2-on-1 in game 3. And it was pretty obvious that the defender on Windsor was caught flat-footed, wasn't going to be able to catch him to stop him from taking a shot, but was in the passing lane.
Yep.
And the
pass
attempt. And the pass attempt was made, and you're down by 2 goals in the third period, and you're passing the puck on a 2-on-1 when you just got to take a shot.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think, like I said, I just think it's just been, unfortunately, a snowball effect. It's been just rolling downhill. I think that things started in the last game versus Flint, where we lost Misoljevic to a unfortunate injury. Ellinas retaliated. I'm calling it a retaliation because Flint was so dirty throughout that series, and they were headhunting, and he got suspended. And it just feels like Jackson Parsons maybe needed to have a game where the boys came out and scored 3 or 4, and he never got that. Now they scored 3 in the third game, but they lost 6-3. And realistically, the game really wasn't close because of the officiating, basically making it impossible to dig out of the hole, is what I'll say. I won't say that they lost the game because of the officiating. I'll say that they got in a hole once again, and it became literally impossible to dig out of it because the officials were literally pouring dirt on them.
Yes. Yeah, the game 3, I actually felt like the Rangers came out the best of all 3 games. Like they came out really fast at the beginning of the first period. They got it was like 6-1 or something shots where like they dominated probably the first 6 minutes of the game. And then they got a penalty, and then they got the 5-on-3 against. And that's when it started to go downhill. And they just couldn't get one on the board in that first chunk of time before things started to go sour.
No, and basically what ends up happening is Windsor gets a power play halfway through the first, and Liam Greentree gets his first of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals, which is absolutely unbelievable. I didn't even clock it because I was at the game until the 5th goal. I turned and I looked at you and I was like, that's his 5th of the night. his fifth of the night?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not his fifth of the postseason.
No.
His fifth of the night?
Yeah.
No, it was actually one of those moments where you're like, I guess at some point I'm going to look back and go, I was at that Liam Greentree 5-goal, 6-point night, because that's the only thing that you can take away from a game like this positively, and it'll be down the road.
Yeah. When the sting is gone.
Yeah, when the sting is gone, and realistically, when you're talking about, great OHLers you got to watch play. I mean, that it's just undeniably that Greentree and Protas are unbelievable. I'll throw Morneau in there.
Yeah.
Although I don't think he drives play as much as those two guys, but he's been a great finisher
you need that
for them.
third guy to finish stuff.
He's been a great finisher for them as well. Liam Greentree has 14 playoff goals. It's round 2.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it almost feels like maybe in this case, when we previewed the Rangers, we talked about the depth versus the top end. And unfortunately, the depth hasn't been there because the depth got sliced in half.
For sure.
Early.
Yeah, you lose
lose
a whole line going into the series. It's a challenge to come back. All your systems are going to be slightly off. But to speak of a couple positives of this, this third game, I don't have much positive to say about the first 2 games. Romano got a really beautiful shorthanded goal in game 2. Yeah, like even the goal we got in game 1, like Reed got it, which is awesome, but it was like a real softy goal. But game 3, Tanner Lam was
actually Tanner Lam in game 1. Reed had the assist, but
Reed. Oh, okay,
yeah. I just wanted to make note of that because Tanner Lam actually now has 4 goals.
Oh yeah, good for him.
He's doing great.
Tanner Lam had an amazing game 3. Like that was the most noticeable. The whole line. Yeah. But Tanner Lam, he got a goal. I believe he got 2 points, a goal and an assist. The goal that Mercer got in the second period was all created by Lam getting it into the zone, giving himself space, getting the defenders away from Mercer, giving Mercer time. Like that was all Lam, and in the third period, Lam got his own goal, and it was again just like he very much looks like a dominant player out there. And
for a young player in this league, I'm really excited for next year with Tanner Lam.
Yeah.
Not to write them off. I'll be rooting for the boys tonight.
Of course.
However, like I said, regardless of what happens, Tanner Lam is going to be a dominant top 6 player for the Rangers this coming season. You mentioned Cameron Mercer. I want to point out that at one point, Cameron Mercer had a shift where he was doing dirty work along the boards, and he was fighting off like 2-3 guys on Windsor. And you and I turned and looked at each other, and you're like, who was that? Yeah. I was like, I don't know who was that. And you were like, it was 14 because we were sitting up way high. And I was like, oh, it's Arquette. It's Mercer because it was the Smurf line, as they call them, Mercer, Arquette, and Lamb. And it was Cameron Mercer just absolutely, he looked like a young Sid the Kid, just pushing guys off while controlling the puck and keeping the puck in the zone and just
pushing puck through
that
feet
line
just to get it.
Yeah, that line was just like unbelievable in this game. They were not so much the lone bright spot, but they were the brightest of
definitely
very few
the
bright
MVP
spots.
of the MVP line of the game.
Yeah, Cameron Reed, you mentioned him as well, going to another Cameron. Cameron Reed, he had probably his best game, but we have to remember Cameron Reed is probably playing hurt.
Yeah.
He missed 2 games in was it 2 or 3 in Flint?
It was the 2 last games in Flint.
The last
game
2
4,
games.
Game 5, yeah.
And there's no way that if you're unable to play and you come back within a week that you're 100%. There's just no way. It's not how the human body works.
Not my human body.
No, exactly. These boys just wait, 15 years to 17 years, and the human body, it just honestly just never heals.
I mean, it might be different if you're a professional athlete versus 2 guys who do a podcast on Wednesday nights.
That's true. Although I'm going to take my chances with my knees and my legs compared to some of these NHLers. So
yeah, that's true. The comparison might be good at one point or another, but right now, even when they get to our age, they might still be winning.
2 episodes ago, I had a cramp sitting doing a podcast. Yeah. The worst hamstring cramp of my life. I don't know how much of that made it into the uncut episode on YouTube, but that's a plug to go watch that 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, Andrew eating a banana.
Yeah, it happened.
Do you want to talk about OHL draft at all now? Well, we got a few minutes before the game.
The OHL priority selection happened where we draft 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds, which is just so funny to me that I'm like, these are just like literal babies, 20 years older. These people.
Yes.
Yep, we're old. The first pick the Rangers made was Kane Barch, the player out of Humber Perth, U16 Humber Perth. He's a 5'11", 174-pound left winger, son of longtime NHL grinder Chris Barch. He's out of Grand Bend, Ontario. Now, the news has broken. He will not be playing with the Rangers next year. He is going to go and play the U17 U.S. National Development Team program next year.
Yeah.
So they haven't made up a mind beyond that, but he will not be playing with the Rangers next year. Mike McKenzie made that gamble on purpose. It was a strategic move because he doesn't have a place on the team next year. It doesn't matter how good he is. I don't think he's getting into the lineup as much as you'd want. So realistically, it could be really great that he could go and season and come back as an 18-year-old and just like slot in and just own face. So that's exciting. I think that's great. I think that was a great pick personally.
Nice. That sounds good. I'm pro all these development programs. Like, I mean, obviously the OHL is a development program, but we've seen NHLers go away and do like college hockey or other sorts of development and come in, and they seem to be more well-rounded. Like,
for sure.
There's all these things that are working in your advantage in these moments, and that just means that the more experience you have, the better you are when you move up a level or you move into a system with more players and more responsibility and whatever.
Yeah. And he's American-born, right? He was born in Plano, Texas. So it makes sense. He can do that. It's not like he's choosing to go to the U.S.
Yeah.
No, he can do that because he's American-born. So it makes a lot of sense for him. Then moving on to the second round, we got a right-shot defenseman, the coveted right-shot defenseman.
Ooh, yeah.
Alexander Forrest. He's 5'11". He's from Grimsby, Ontario. He came out of the Oakville Rangers U16 program, which I believe had quite a few, and I think the Rangers actually picked up another one of them. I want to talk about these first 3, and then I'll get faster through the next. I will just give you a little bit of a breakdown. I heard that from one of our insiders, and he just said he was ranting and raving about Alexander Forrest, and he said that this was an unbelievable pick at the end of the second round. So I'm really excited about this guy. And then lastly, in the in-depth kind of preview, but not leastly,
the Friday night draft.
The Friday night draft, we drafted Tommy Cutt, a left shot defenseman who has some size. He's 6'3", 194, came out of the Don Mills Flyers, U16 in Toronto. Apparently, that is like a factory for making OHLers.
Okay.
Because we got another one of those guys. Actually, the next pick was another Don Mills Flyers kid.
Nice.
And the amount of Don Mills Flyers kids that went in this draft was very impressive. So the interesting thing about this big left shot defenseman, Tommy Cutt, is he's the first ever Hong Kong-born player drafted to the OHL. So really excited about watching his development. Just he's already 6'3", basically 200 pounds. If he doesn't grow, it doesn't matter. Right? Like,
are you describing Zhu now?
Yeah, that another. I was gonna say we didn't mention him in the breakdown, but man, Zhu, like, first of all, rocket shots.
I thought he was going to break the glass behind the net. He missed the shot at one point on Monday night when we were there. And my God, it was like a bullet hit the glass.
Yes. And a dude throws his body around. As we found out on one of the Windsor telecasts, he is committed to Harvard. Yeah. But I'm hoping that I don't think that's next year. I think that's the year after. I could be wrong.
I would think he needs at least another year of high school. Yeah.
Is he not? Good for him either way. Yeah. And I really hope that he's a big part of this team next year because I'm sold. I'm sold. The kid is
super fun to watch.
for real. Yeah. He's super fun to watch. He's entertaining.
Yeah.
And then quickly I'll run through the rest of them. Evan Nicholson, Don Mills Flyers from Sutton, Ontario. He's a winger. We had 3 rounds a break just from trades. So we got to the 7th round. We got Joshua Taylor, who is a goalie. He's 6 feet tall, came out of Toronto. Logan Anderson, a center, 5'10", out of Fort Myers, Florida. So that'll be interesting to see. Maybe he stays in the U.S. for a bit. I don't know. And then we got Logan Massimi from Scarborough. So a good Scarborough kid, another right shot defenseman. Griffin Fox, a center from Amherst View, Ontario. Another center. We went heavy on the forwards. Here, Marcus Harper out of Toronto. Then we took another defenseman, Jason Sinnott, I apologize. We'll know soon enough, from North Bay, Ontario. Then there's a name I'm very scared of, Mason Ridgeoff, Hriczov. So
sounds like he's got great potential on the Rangers.
Ridgeoff. I don't know. I like it. It's a great name, however you'd say it. I think the H is silent. We learned that from Lachar. He's from North Caldwell, New Jersey. He's a big goalie. He's 6'1", 194, and he's still young. So these are 2009 babies. Then we have Hudson Heisey, who is a undersized winger. He's 5'7", out of Oakville, Ontario, but he's another Oakville Rangers pick. And then we've got Cole Crawford rounding out the 15th round as 5'10" center out of Barrie, Ontario.
Sweet.
So a couple U.S.-born players, excluding Kane Barch. I mean, like a couple more. So we took 3 American players and quite a few out of Toronto and the GTA area, which I think is to be expected. I hear that Toronto is a factory, which makes sense because it's Toronto.
Yep, agreed. Cool. Well, that's great. Well, it is almost 7 o'clock, so why don't we break now? We'll do some music.
Yep.
And we'll come back.
Let's go Rangers.
One eternity later.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
I'm on my down 3-1 LeBron James tip here.
Yes, you are.
Jackson Parsons got me feeling like LeBron James. Luke Ellinas got me feeling like Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, who said, "Don't let us get one. Don't let us get one." So I'm saying today, better not let us get 2. Better not let us get 2. Because if we come back to the odd, we're going back to Windsor again. I'm telling you. I'm calling it now.
That was a statement game. This was a we showed up game.
Oh, we're back. We are so back.
It wasn't even in the first period we were back. It was like we waited for 5 minutes into the second to be back.
Yeah, and Luke Ellinas living up to the billing. We said that he was going to be the offensive leader. We said he had another gear, and guess what? He came back, and he has another gear. He has the Hattie.
We said he had to be the guy.
Yeah, we did.
And he's the guy.
And it's funny.
Tonight he's the guy.
It's funny because the way the things work with the missile going down with an injury and Ellinas having to like rise his game up, to the occasion. And with poor Jack Pridham just being snake bitten. I mean, if you didn't watch the game, he missed an empty net. He hit the post.
We were texting during the game saying like Jack Pridham is like due. He's overdue. He had so many opportunities. And then I was like, he got the puck with the empty net at the blue line, and he shot and hit the post. And I was like, I can't believe.
Yeah. So my theory is if they have positive regression, if Jack Pridham has positive regression in the next game, then it's coming back to the odd because Pridham is due to have a green tree type game. He's about to have five goals in a game.
But this was not a solo effort by Luke Ellinas and Jackson Parsons.
No.
This was a good team game. I almost thought we were gonna have to play the booze again from the top of the episode for the refs because it got rough in the second period. This is just continued embarrassing reffing at this level.
Yeah, man, that's like I said during the game to you, I said like this is just like embarrassing. Like if I was taking somebody to an OHL playoff game and introducing them to the product, I'd be like embarrassed. Like, yeah, this is the league that I have a podcast about. Like, no, it's not the quality of the league. It's not the quality of the player. Like, nothing else about this league is questionable. Even the regular season officiating was quality officiating.
Yeah, we rarely talked about it.
Here and there, and that was the thing, is it was a talking point because it was like rare. There was a tripping call, clear as day. Now, I will say they did give the Rangers 3 power plays in a row in the third period.
Yeah, it was different. The badness was different, but some of the penalties that it took to get a power play for the Rangers were egregious by the name of Abraham.
Yeah, Ryan Abraham has something against Jackson Parsons. I don't know why. Thankfully, it wasn't like I don't think it's like suspension worthy. Like he didn't hurt Parsons. It was just like weird to get frustrated like that in the third period. He again, if you didn't watch the game, he shoved Parsons, which was a frustration thing. He was in the crease behind him. He got pushed into the net kind of thing. He kind of blew a tire. But he got up and he shoved Parsons for no apparent reason except to take a penalty. And then
Jason was saying in the broadcast, he's like, he checked Parsons like he was fighting for position in front of the net.
Yeah, it was weird. And then he got out of the box and had a scoring chance, and then followed through and just ran Parsons.
Just charged him.
I don't understand, man. Like, why would you do that? Like, you're up 3 games to nothing. I don't understand. Like, is there something shifting mentally now after this shutout?
I also wondered if it was something along the lines of, at the end of the second period, Andonovski took a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. So it was called after the second Luke Ellinas goal. Ando hit Costanzo, like bumped him a bit going to the net. And Costanzo, Olympic team diving call.
Yeah.
He just like,
oh yeah.
The dude flopped like a fish out of water. And so Ando took the penalty after the goal. So the puck was already in the net. They couldn't call it off. They tried. You could see the refs trying to call it off, but they couldn't. And then maybe this was frustration by Abraham, but Abraham was playing dirty all game. He just finally caught up with him in the third.
The Ando penalty, I mean, it is what it is. He made contact with the goalie, but yeah, Costanzo, who's been playing very well in this series, and yeah, I don't like that. It's nothing personal with this goalie, but it was a unbelievable embellishment. I said to you, like, they got to call that both ways, right? They got to call the Ando contact, and they got to call the embellishment, because it's as bad of an embellishment as you'll ever see.
If anybody is listening to this and is thinking about taking acting classes, go talk to Joey Costanzo, because his teacher is phenomenal.
Hey, maybe he can get a gig, you know? It's hard out here for us actors.
Yeah, so we won. It's 3-1 in the series. The statement game. We're going back to Windsor for Game 5. That is Friday night, which is great. Like, now we're back on track. Like, I just felt like this team needed to get some gremlins out, and they did that tonight. I saw it come out of them. Everyone but Pridham.
Yeah, maybe it's too little too late. This is the problem with spotting a team 3 games, but I mean, it's nothing for the Rangers to win 4 in a row. They did it lots this season. So if the puck luck starts to shift, if the officiating bias starts to shift a little bit, even just to even would literally be even. And, you know, if now Pridham can get on the score sheet, if that top line, basically if Swick, Humphrey, and Pridham can get going, then this is a series. This is not over. And I think we saw Ellinas announce his presence in last game. Even they lost 6-3. He had a goal. And he looked like a factor. And tonight, it was like, oh, he's one of the best players on the ice.
Yes.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. Yes, you heard him. You heard him. I think you're just thrown off by all the swag over here.
Yeah, it's
if
too
you're
much,
not watching,
it's hard to handle.
If you're not watching and you're just listening, I've got a backwards Jackson Parsons jersey on. I've got the LeBron James down 3-1, the sunglasses, and the wired headphones plugged in. So I might go to work like this tomorrow. You never know.
Yeah,
you know,
please do.
Yeah,
please.
I mean,
so let's go Who are your 3 stars of the series so far, Andrew?
3 stars.
Who's your first star?
3 stars of the series so far. Well, I'm gonna go recency bias, and I'm gonna say Luke Ellinas is my first star so far because
doesn't need to be recency bias. He's had a pretty killer 2 games of the series that he's played.
Sure. I guess I'm just throwing out the first 2 games, to be honest.
Yeah.
Luke Ellinas. I mean, he scored a hat trick. You score a hat trick, you get first star, right? It's like the Michigan rule. You score a hat trick, you get first star.
Yeah, good with that one too. Second star. Who's your second?
Tanner Lam. Yeah. If the series had ended tonight and the Rangers had have lost, I think I would have given Tanner Lam the first star in the series. But because Ellinas kind of shifted the whole thing on its head, then that's where I'm going with that. But Tanner Lam has, and even tonight, he dealt with, getting interfered with and getting clutched and grabbed. Protas, who is a gigantic, grown man, he's pulling on Tanner Lam. And I mean, Tanner Lam,
double the size.
Tanner Lam never plays the victim, and that's why I love him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. The second star, Tanner Lam. Yeah, no points tonight, but like he's been a force in this whole series. Great passing, just great teamwork, and literally towing around the other team. So.
Absolutely.
And then third star, who you got?
You got to go Jackson Parsons now because he bounced back. We had our action Jackson, we had reaction Jackson, and now we had bounce back in Jackson. That's a stretch, but I'm taking it. It's a shutout. Here's the bottom line: is anything could happen in Game 5. If they lose in Windsor, which, whatever, hats off to the Spitfires. The fact that the last game that Jackson Parsons ever plays on the odds ice is a shutout win is just so perfect, tied up with a bow. However, I'm telling you what, man, don't let us get to. Yeah.
I'm gonna go third star. I'm gonna go the Andalorian.
Nice.
I think he showed up at the beginning of the game. He threw out a few big hits to start the game, get the energy in the guys. I think the leadership was needed, and he stepped up, and so got to give it to the Ando.
I fully agree. He was all over the ice tonight. He was a physical presence while being mostly disciplined. He
mostly disciplined.
Yeah, mostly disciplined, which is, that seems to be par for the course in playoff hockey. You can be mostly disciplined unless you're the Kitchener Rangers in round 2. Then you're just parade to the box.
Reason.
So we'll see now. We'll see how these officials get on in Windsor, and we'll see if the Rangers can continue this momentum.
So thank you, of course, to Ken Bourne, Director of Branding and Marketing.
Bourne.
He got the week off this week a little bit. I think he didn't have to make any groat things this week.
That's okay. So we'll just triple his output next week.
Yeah, for sure. He got his week off. Of course, I got to shout out the prodigal producer, Liam.
The Phenom.
And how do you find us in the world, Andrew?
You find us at The Odd Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. You can also send us an email at theoddpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're also on YouTube. If you Google, you could Google us. But if you go on YouTube and you search The Odd Podcast, Kitchener Rangers will come up.
We will. And, if the refs from these games want to send us an email, you're more than welcome to. That's totally fine. And and as always, you can find us at
the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. See you at the Odd on Sunday.